Okay, so one day I got a call from a random guy that his PC stopped working and he wanted to trade it for a new one. He said that his PC had some sort of a Ryzen 5 CPU and RTX 3070, so I offered the guy 200 euros, which he accepted and was surprisingly happy with the offer. So when he came into my office, he bought a brand new 7800 X3D Ryzen system with RTX 5070 Ti and just left. And now we're left with this, his dusty PC. I of course didn't know much about the exact backstory behind, but the guy said that the GPU is probably dead, so I really hope he misdiagnosed the issue, because if he didn't, we might seriously be in the red with this one. So let's see what we're working here with. And upon the first quick visual inspection, we see that this PC is definitely interestingly built, maybe even more weirdly built, because for example we have this ancient Corsair PSU from roughly 2009 or something, some random Samsung SSD which might not even be NVMe, then random 8GB sticks of DDR4 and a hard drive. But on the other hand, we have this nice case, RTX 3070 obviously, and an Asus stuffed motherboard, so I'm really confused who cooked here. Anyways, let's just try to boot this thing up on this sketchy setup I put together. And what do you think, guys, what happened? Of course the PC didn't boot. But we see that the amber light indicates DRAM, which is a very good sign, because our 3070 might not be bad after all. So naturally, after seeing a DRAM light, the first obvious step is to try and boot everything with one stick. And it didn't boot, but I forgot that this is not the actual first slot of the motherboard. So after inserting RAM into the right slot, we saw signs of life. And apparently this even has an X570 motherboard? What? So let's just try to boot it up and see if it posts to Windows. Guys, I absolutely cannot believe that it actually works. And as you can see, we got dude's old files, but out of respect and legal reasons obviously, we are not going to dig into them. So let's just try to boot up the system with all RAM sticks. And unfortunately, it didn't boot up with all 4, but whoever built this PC did this man dirty. One stick was 2133 MHz, so it means that all sticks were running at 2133 MHz. But yeah, after playing with the sticks I got from this exact computer, it did boot up with two 2666 MHz sticks. For 200 euros, we have a fully working X570 PC with RTX 3070 and Ryzen 5 5600. This is crazy. So naturally, I just want to see how it does in games. And just for comparison, I also installed a brand new 32GB 3600 MHz CL16 RAM kit that I bought for 82 euros, because I will compare side by side just to see if office grade 16GB kit and gaming 32GB kit has any difference in FPS. So I started off with some AAA games like Black Myth Wukong, and no matter if it was 1080p natively or 1440p medium with DLSS, more RAM and faster RAM does not equal more FPS. This is definitely weird. But what about other games? Well, on the newest AAA game, Borderlands 4, we got some NVIDIA drivers moment. Okay guys, we have some sort of a I love NVIDIA drivers situation right here, because if I click record, it starts recording and it saves automatically after 1 second. But basically, we're getting 60 something FPS, and I'm going to hold my hand while recording. But we also see that on 1440p medium, there is an actual difference, especially on 1% lows. Though the biggest difference was on Stalker 2, where I think the RAM capacity mainly helped out, and the gameplay experience was vastly different. Because as you can see from the gameplay footage, on 16 gigs we're using 16 gigs of memory, but on 32 we're actually using 19 gigabytes. That's a big difference. Now, if we're talking about esports, CS2 mainly improved in 1% lows, like drastically improved, because as you can see, RAM speed actually does make a meaningful difference. I'm just stunned that we're getting this crazy FPS in a PC that costs less than 300 euros with all of the upgrades we made. Isn't this like the best bang for buck PC PC ever. And of course, there was also some FPS difference on paper on Call of Duty Warzone, though to be fair with you guys, I could not have noticed any difference if there was no benchmark results to review afterwards. It felt roughly the same between the RAM configurations. So after a pretty mid-free PC in the previous video, we have scored big with this supposedly bad RTX 3070 PC. And just with a RAM upgrade, we were able to boost the FPS really nicely in some games. And if you guys are curious, what is the fate of this PC? Well, I actually already sold it for 590 euros with a 1TB SSD instead of the HDD and SSD combo, so I've made a pretty solid 270-ish euro profit. Anyways, what kind of PC builds you want to see next? Like, let me know in the comments, because I think that these are more interesting to watch. And yeah, cheap bastard out.